This is Family Electric Ghost, and we're live on the air with Dr. Reynolds Kairus for the first time. How you doing?
I'm doing great, sir. How about you? Thank you for having me.
It's a pretty good day. It's a great it's a great day. Every day I can talk to different people around the world. Let people know this episode. We're on episode. Let me see. I was gonna pull it up. We're on episode. If I can get it out there, 879 for the Family Electric. We've been out here for a while. So this 879th episode of the Family Electric Ghost Show. We are a featured podcast on Newsly. You can check us out. You can use coupon code GHOST to get one month, and you can stop scrolling and stop listening. We are a featured podcast on the Newsly platform. So check that out after later tonight. You'll be able to listen to it. That's audio only. So again, thank you for being on the podcast. It's great to have you on the show.
Thank you. I'm here to help. I'm here to help.
So also for the audience that's going to be audio, we have your link tree up, and it's NY Streets MD. So it's Linktree NY Streets MD. And what will
NY,
people find when they
NY,
go there?
NYC Streets MD.
Oh,
Nowadays, even
NYC, right? NYC.
the letters, every letter, So, yeah, basically, if you look for me, you're gonna just basically see a man who started off with a troubled youth and ended up, rising through the ranks in the medical field. And now I'm a medical doctor who's reached almost 5 million people worldwide. But in general, what you're going to see is just someone paying his blessings forward. There's a lot of trials and tribulations that went on during my life transformation. And it's my duty to share with people what it is that worked for me. Because if you're anything like me, you suffer in silence. And not that many people know what you're going through and what you feel. And I identify with a lot of people out there. So, I'm just sharing with people what worked for me and what allows me to live this blissful existence that I'm living now.
It's really like a great underdog story, or like the Horatio Alger story of people, within the typical thing that people want, when they come to the U.S. or if they live in the United States, is like they feel that they'll be able to actually be able to overcome kind of the David and Goliath story. So it's cool that you were able to go through that, and maybe we'll talk about at first overcoming adversity. Maybe you tell people that background to give a little brief introduction of like how you were able to get where you are today as a medical doctor.
Yeah, so adversity is something that, just to lay the foundation, adversity is something you want to welcome. Adversity and struggles is something that you want to embrace with open arms because it's going to allow you to reach the next level of your life and the next level of your involvement as a human being. So if you're thinking to yourself, oh my God, this one thing, whether it's your finances, whether it's your weight, whether it's your health or your mental health, if you have something that's bogging you down, if you look at it like what it is, which is pretty much a blessing that allows you to leverage it so you could go ahead and reach a new height in your life, then the adversity comes out to be good because you heard the saying, is your cup half full or your cup half empty? So I always looked at my cup half empty. I had a negative mindset, and how could I not? Just to mention some of the adversity I went through. I was born and raised by a single mother on welfare in the inner city of New York City, post-crack epidemic. No father, right? I'm a high school dropout. I've been arrested. I had suicidal thoughts. I'm divorced. I've been shot at. People try to kill me. I've been raised on government assistance. I was 70 pounds heavier. My kidneys were failing me. I had psoriasis, eczema, and I was dependent on steroids because my autoimmune disease was through the roof. I couldn't breathe. I needed an asthma pump everywhere that I went. I've been able to participate in a lot of cool health procedures like delivering babies and doing C-sections and intubating people that really needed it. But I've also done a lot of horrific things, or I've been part not done, but I've been a part of things that stay in your memory forever, including but not limited to
Mhm.
holding somebody's brains in my own hands and participating
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
amputation of a little kid's arm, like literally chopping a little kid's arm off, for
So
lack of
you
better
worked
terms.
within an ambulance, like doing emergency services, right? Is that where you've been?
Yeah, so um, I just wanted to highlight like all the adversities that come to the top of the mind, but where it all started was in 2003, I became an EMT. In 2007, I became a paramedic, and in 2017, I became a medical doctor. Like I hold a doctorate
Awesome.
degree in medicine, and that was my start. I originally just wanted job security. Like being raised in New York City, all you want is just like a city job, a
Mhm.
steady income, and a big screen TV. Like back where I'm from, that's like the definition of success. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like just
yeah,
a
yeah.
steady income. But that's what I was striving for, and I accomplished that and more.
What made you want to go into medicine, given being was it because you had come from like a adverse environment and you wanted to pay it forward and help people? Did you feel like that because to go into being into medicine, you have it's a really heavy discipline. You have to study a lot. You have to have talent. You have to have precision, and you're helping people. Like being a
Yes.
lawyer or a doctor is like a different type of mindset. It's heavy duty, but it's like you're actually giving back.
Yeah, so in hindsight is 2020. So now I've noticed that I'm a healer slash warrior. Like my duty in this earth is to heal and protect, right? But at the same time, when I look at back at what my thought process was at that time in 2003, 2002 when I started, I basically wanted no I didn't want to be a part of the street life anymore. I
Mm,
was
mhm.
destined to death or jail. Somebody shot at me. I was considering a payback homicide. I was found out where this person lived, and I wanted to. I had a group of gangsters, deported
Mhm.
gangsters in the Dominican Republic, ready to, you know, get revenge with me. And then I snapped out of it because I used to always hear like, "Listen, you're gonna end up dead or in jail."
Well, it's like a dead ender. Like 'cause you can have that kind of instant gratification from being, letting anger rule your life. Like, and so if you look from moment to moment, incident to incident, then you don't see the bigger picture. But it looks like you had like an epiphany and you saw the bigger picture and you realize that life's like a dead end because there's
For
only a
sure,
couple ways that's going to end up, you know,
for
and it
sure.
probably none of them are good.
Not at all, and that's how I ended up. That's how I ended up. Just I was like, well, I got to keep myself busy because I used to box, and I remember like 2 weeks after they closed my boxing gym, I got arrested because I was like in the street, running around. I didn't have anything to do, and that's why they arrested me.
Mhm.
So I was like, well, if I don't want to be arrested again, I got to learn from that mistake, and I got to like keep myself busy. I was like, I got to get a job. And then I thought about like what jobs offer job
Yeah.
security. And I started thinking about like city jobs. And I was like, what city job can I get? And then I was like, oh, okay, I could work as a first responder. And then the options for first responder, police officer, I was like, nah, they're not my best friends. Firefighter, I was like, nah, I'm not crazy about entering a burning building. And then it turned out to be paramedic, EMT, because these guys would always help my grandmother. My grandmother was Big Mama. She
Oh,
was
you saw.
obese.
Mhm.
She was obese, so we had to call the ambulance for her often. She suffered from the negative consequences
Oh,
of of leading an unhealthy lifestyle, and she had like heart failure, diabetes, and all these things. So I always saw the paramedics as the good guys, especially for the way they treated my grandmother, which I love so
yeah.
much. And then that's how I ended up entering healthcare.
That's interesting. 'Cause when I grew up, I'm a child of the '70s, and I grew up watching like Emergency, and that show was kind of about paramedics. And,
Yes, sir.
when I was a young kid, I was like, "Oh, yeah, that's a cool thing to do because because that's actually helping people," right? And you go watch Adam 12 or you go watch Emergency, more because, watching a bunch of LA police people, it's like that wasn't my big thing. But, watching the paramedics. And so when did you feel like you had the talent to be a paramedic? Because I think you have to have a certain like mindset to be able to handle because you said there's like crazy things that happen and your like brains being in your hand. It's like you have to have that kind of ability. Like my brother had been in the Gulf. He was like one of those corpsmen. He had to follow a tank battalion and deal with guys getting injured, really horrific injuries. And so, how did you feel that you could do that? Did you know you could do that, or you came to learn that you could handle it?
Well, as the deeper I got into it, the more I noticed that it was like learnable. Because at the end of the day, the body's universal. People try to complicate things, but in reality, your perception of a task is directly proportional to your level of self development. And the only things in life that are difficult are the ones you're not prepared for. So if I prepare for this test assessing my ability to take a blood pressure, I'll pass the test as long as I study it. So the more I did it, the more I started to realize, oh, this is easy because when I was in junior high school, when I was in elementary school, I would read, like, I have my report cards, and they would always say, like, he's very smart but very disruptive. He's very smart but always interrupts the class. Needs improvement in behavior,
So you weren't
but
focused.
has a lot of potential. So I was always like that kid where my mom would go because I was always fighting, getting in trouble. But the
Hmm.
teachers were like, "Yo, man, this guy." So
They
I
saw
applied.
they saw that you had this had work, but you didn't have the discipline. And so
Yep.
it seems like you were able to attain the discipline when you realized that you wanted to get out of the life. You didn't want to go down the gangbang. That whole thing is like it's a dead end, and you wanted something that was a steady job, but also the job you picked is kind of like I said, it's paying it forward. And maybe you didn't see it that way at first, but it's you felt like you had the mind for it. That if you could had to take a test, you felt like you could pass it, right? So you felt like if I can learn what they want me to do, I can do it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, self doubt creeps in. And one of the best ways, I'll give you guys some actionable items. It's like a cascade of bad decisions and negative thoughts that cause self-doubt. And allow me to
Hmm.
elaborate. If you have self-doubt in anything you want to pursue, you have to realize it's most likely because you don't trust yourself. And the reason you don't trust yourself is because you let yourself down. And the way you let yourself down is by committing to something and not following through. So your subconscious is like, yo, this person keeps saying that they're going to do something, they don't do it. So that's where the self-doubt, that's one of the reasons why self-doubt could creep in. So, just to give you guys an actionable item,
Hmm.
watch your thoughts. Watch your thoughts and look at your track record as to like what you have been following through with. And if you see that there's room for improvement, which we all have, start chipping away at it. Start chipping away at it immediately because self-doubt, lack of confidence, and lack of energy, it's very common. And people think I'm abnormal because I'm so confident, because I feel so good. But in reality, I'm not abnormal. It's just that low level, lackluster existence has been normalized. But every second that passes, my
Yeah,
people,
that's true.
every second that passes, we get closer to our death. Like literally. We die a little bit every
Yeah,
day. And I live in healthcare. I see people, in the worst circumstances. So I'm speaking to you from like, hey guy, can I curse?
mhm. Yeah, yeah. It's a open
Yeah, I'm
podcast.
just like, guys, wake the fuck up. So one second, being under that pretense that time is the real currency, under that pretense that time is the most valuable thing we waste. 1 second of lack of energy, 1 second of lack of confidence, 1 second of lack of trust in self is an eternity. Literally, it's an eternity because you're never going to get that second back again.
Yeah.
So please, my people, the like, you know, work works.
Yeah. Well, I'm a firm believer. My grandpa was a coal miner, and he was very self-reliant, and he built his own house. He learned how to do his own plumbing. Didn't have a high school education. Had a farm, built everything himself because he knew how to fix cars. He could play a banjo. He could do everything. He didn't think there were limitations. He would just learn whatever he needed to do. And he was living in a world where people wouldn't give him services. He couldn't get a plumber. So he had to be a plumber. He couldn't get an electrician. So he had to be an electrician. So he went and learned how to do it instead of saying, well, I can't do anything and waiting for somebody to do it for you. So we having that kind of example, at least in my life, I realized, I was one of the first people in my family go to college. And then, people say, well, you never did that. And, I done a lot of different things. And I went through cancer at age 27. That was like my crucible. Then I realized life can end quick. I had a level 3 sarcoma, but I beat it. And then I realized that I was putting ceilings on myself. And then I said, well, you know what? I'm going to do the things that I thought were impossible because, if I can beat cancer, I can do anything. So I think I understand your kind of mindset because you had that crucible of almost getting killed. And then you want to do better. You wanted to find a way to be positive, and then you found that positivity. And I think that's what people need to, you don't necessarily have to have that crucible happen, but you have to use your head, open your eyes.
Yeah, I mean, the only people who are respected are those that are tested and come out stronger on the other side. So we started off talking about how adversity is good for you. Here's a perfect example. To be able to have a stage 3 sarcoma and be standing here producing over 800 podcast episodes 9 years plus later, that's commendable. You know what I mean? And this is what I'm trying to tell
Yeah.
people. Like, this is, you got to go
Yeah,
through
I totally
something.
get it. Cause like yeah, you're showing people, a lot of people. I think your story is really brilliant. It's a really good story because there's a lot of people who say because of where the position they're in that they can't get where they're going. And so, my mom was the coal miner's daughter, right? She was, he was Morgantown, West Virginia, and they weren't very, nice to people back then. And so like he had to fight every day, and my father's side of the family, he was working in the factories in Springfield. He was in the Negro Baseball League. And he really wanted to make it in the big leagues, but they had it in a situation where he couldn't, right? So he did everything he could. My father grew up and got to be a businessman and came to his own. But they were all these walls, and people were telling us, "Oh, you can't do this, you can't do that." And the way I look at it is like the people who say you can't, you really got to ignore that, and you just do what you think is necessary. And you can the human beings are very resilient if they choose to be. If you choose to actually use the fire inside of yourself, you can get somewhere. And I totally believe your story is we want to continue to talk about like how it was like living and working in the South Bronx and seeing the things you did on the ambulance, and maybe tell me more stories about how you got to be a doctor and just the story from going from the ambulance to MT to.
Hey guys, listen, mm, I'm a paramedic. I've been in healthcare for almost 20 years. And I got to tell you, I didn't learn how to be a paramedic on Times Square tourist attractions. I learned how to be a paramedic in the busiest 911 system in the world, which is New York City, in one of the toughest neighborhoods in the United States, which is the South Bronx. And I love every second of it. You know what I mean? Because it's like
Mhm.
I'm with the people. and these are my people. So, it gives me pride to know that I'm a medical doctor on an ambulance. I used to have negative self-talk. I used to be like, well, you're a paramedic. Why are you on the ambulance? Why aren't you in the hospital? Why aren't you in the hospital prescribing medications? And I used to hear it from my counterparts as well. But now my negative self-talk turned into positive self-talk. Like, who the fuck else? What other doctor in this world is showing up at your house when you call 911? I'm a motherfucking man. I'm a man of service. I'm here to help people. You understand? I'm here,
Well, we
and
need people.
I
Yeah.
have a higher education. I have a doctorate degree. I have a successful business. Just last month I made 5 times more in that month than I ever made in my entire life. So my business is on an upward trajectory. From comparing 2021 to 2022, I'm up in profit 150%. People want to invest in real estate. People want to invest in this. They want to invest in that. Fuck that. Your highest fucking investment is yourself. I want an 8% return or
Hmm.
150% return. Now,
Yep.
not to say that real estate is not a good vehicle, not to say that stocks and all these things, but people fail to realize that you need to prioritize yourself first. You need to work on yourself first. So when I went ahead and realized this, I made the transition from paramedic, from EMT to paramedic to doctor. And guess what? Adversity, right? One of the adversities I had when I was in medical school, they took away my school loans. I was already a few semesters in, you know, doing good. And then they took away my financial assistance. I don't have a well-off family. I didn't have anybody to like support me
Yeah.
financially. So I was at this crossroads where like, damn, I could quit. I could quit and it'll be justifiable because how the fuck am I going to pay for school if I don't got no money?
Mhm.
But check this out, my people. Hashtag quitting is for bitches. What did I do? I fucking, yeah, word. Like one of my clients, she always says that her name is Amy. She's always like, Dr. Ray, that's one of the things that I learned the most from you. And that's how you know you have a good mentor. You met somebody profound because they'll say things that linger in your brain even after you meet them. Right. And
Hmm.
what did I do? I basically flew back and forth from Dominican Republic to New York City. I would on long weekends and vacations come to New York, land in New York on a Friday afternoon or Friday evening and work all the way through, sleeping in the back of an ambulance, taking a fucking homeless shower, homeless bath in the public bathroom inside the hospital, flying back to make it to class on Monday morning with my bags
Just so
in
you could
hand,
work, pay it.
just so I
So
can
you're
pay for
paying it through
school,
doing the work. Yeah.
just
So
so I
you're
can pay
working
for
your
school.
EMT job. Yeah.
Yep. So, you know,
But some people don't realize that you're driven. Because some people like they use excuses. They say, "Well, it's too hard," you know. But when you're driven, you got a goal. Like you're the only one that can decide if you're gonna make it or you're not. And a lot of times, like you said, people want to just be justifiable to not make it. They want to justify their not making it. Where the way I work, being a musician, like everything we do, like you could say a lot of our stuff fails, but do we give up? No, some people do. I know guys when I was 17, they gave up because they didn't get a hit. But the way I look at it is I do it because I love it. So that if you do something because you love it, you're going to stick with it. If you're doing something for some other reason and you drop it, you really didn't love it because if you loved it, you wouldn't have dropped it.
for sure, man. One of the things my mentor taught me was that you need to fall in love. Like he said, be so successful doing what successful people do that when you become successful, you don't even notice that you became successful. So
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
basically, what you need to do is like fall in love with, validate yourself with the day to day acts, not with the end result. Fall in love with the process. We always hear this. But the thing is, a lot of people need to realize that if you're having difficulty, it's most likely because you're going about it by yourself. Like if you think about LeBron James, if you think about Mike Tyson, Michael Jordan, all these high level individuals who have reached the pinnacle of success in their chosen field, what they have in common is that they had a coach. They had a coach. They had somebody by their side. So a lot of
Mhm.
times we're not able to reach our goals because we're too stupid to humble ourselves. We're too stupid to like seek assistance. I don't know anything about audio. I could easily go down YouTube University, or I could holler at my big brother and ask him to guide me. Hey, what should I do about
Mhm.
this? How do I get that? And that's the smarter way to proceed. Look at somebody who has results, a proven track record in the area of life you're trying to improve, and then have them teach you how to do it. That's it. It's pretty simple, you know?
Yeah, kinda like the men it it's that mentor yeah, that mentor, coaching, that's why there's so many mentors and life coaches today out there in the world, and you gotta find the one that's actually gonna speak to you. But, yeah, I mean, like, a lot of what every musician has a teacher, right? They have somebody that they looked up to that they became like, a lot of times it's your producer or it's the recording engineer or it's the other members of your band. Somebody you look to that's another musician to have to actually sit, becomes your mentor. And even in my day job is I'm a software guy. I had to learn from the old hacks that to learn how to do what I did. And I got into it and I didn't even have a comp sci degree. I just like doing computers and I'll do it. Right. And people say, well, you can't go into computers without having a comp sci degree. And I said, well, I did. I've been in it for 25 years. And I'm at a pretty high level as a business system analyst. And I learned it by being at these big companies. And I worked it and I learned all these different systems because I had a passion for the technology. And I became a technologist just because I like it. And I got into it and I had results. And so, but I did have mentors. Every step along the way, I had people I talked to, people I could go over and hang out with. And so I think it is very important to realize what you don't know and don't be scared to say you don't know it and go learn it from somebody that knows it.
For sure. You got to definitely humble yourself. And you also have to realize at this current phase of your life, if you don't have a mentor, I dare to say you're a fool. The most wisest thing you can do is hire a mentor. But when you want to know how to choose a mentor, me personally, you have to be a mentor who leads by example and is strong in all areas of life. So you want a mentor who's strong mentally. You want a mentor, a life coach who's strong physically as well. You don't want no weak motherfucker telling you how to be disciplined. How the fuck can you tell me to be disciplined if you're weak? Like a weak body is a manifestation of a weak mind, right? And it is what it is, the
Mhm.
mind body connection. So, and I'm not talking about just strength, like brute strength. I'm talking about also like endurance. Like as a definition is a man is supposed to protect, provide, and lead his family. But it's very hard for you to protect your family if you can't even run down the block without getting out of breath. It's very hard for you to provide for your
Mhm.
family if you're having financial issues. And it's very hard for you to lead your family if you can't even stay away from the pastries. You can't stay away from the pornography. And then here you are, you're like, okay, I get this feeling I gotta fix myself. I gotta work on myself. I get this urge to improve myself. And you seek a mentor. It's a lot of fluffy motherfuckers out here. They're fluffy as fuck. Like I listened to this book, and this lady, it's the craziest shit. She was like giving advice. She was like a marketing mentor, and I'm online, so I'm like, hey, I could learn some things about marketing. I got her book, and this one chapter, she's like, guys, things don't always go the way you prefer. When you ever have one of those tough days, just eat your favorite French fries, get your favorite ice cream, binge watch Netflix, and go at it tomorrow. Just do it tomorrow. Just do it the next day. And I was like, what the fuck is this lady
That was her
talking
advice.
about? That was her advice. If you're having a stressful day, this is what you should do: eat ice cream, watch TV, and sit on the couch.
Wow.
you know and
Like
you
my
have to
idea,
realize that.
yeah,
I was going to say,
it's like,
you got
well,
to realize that
yeah,
this is comfort, and comfort and growth, they don't coexist. You want to be stronger, you need to make yourself
it got effort.
uncomfortable. So you have
Yeah,
to find a
that's I would
mentor
say, like, yeah.
that's not going to coddle you. And why would he not coddle you? Because he doesn't coddle himself. Like, literally, work
Well,
works.
I think people, well, I think people want to hear something that, okay, I can actually get six pack abs without doing any work. People want to hear that. They want to hear
Hmm.
that they can get to that level without, and then you take some pill, and I'm going to get magic pill, and I'm going to get it. And people buy those pills because they'd rather do that than doing the work. But it's like, in order to get anywhere in my life, I've had to do things that are uncomfortable. I've got to, because I'm a podcaster. When I was 14, I could barely public speak at all. I was so scared of it, I'll be shaking in my shoes. Right? I didn't have the ability to do that at all. And I basically challenged my fear head on. And now I've been doing this for like since 2016. I've been a podcaster, and I'm a
Nice.
musician, and I never sang before my life. And I made myself face my fear. So when you face your fear, you can overcome your fear.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if you hear the Big Brother story, if you hear my story or anybody else's story, you'll find common variables. We're all painting a picture for you, you know? And in reality, I'm reaching this point where I'm tired of begging motherfuckers to improve themselves. Like, literally, you can't want it. I can't, you got to stop wanting it more than they do. You just got to
Mm.
let them be. And this is why I'm focusing
Well,
more
for people,
on becoming a lighthouse. And what I mean, a lighthouse is like in the middle of the sea, it's stationary, and it shines its light for everyone to see. And if you follow that light will lead you to safety. It will lead you home. But there's one particular thing about the lighthouse. It's not coming to you. You need to come to it.
mhm.
So I'm all about extending my hand. I'm all about helping people. But for years and years, I've been begging people to improve themselves. And I'm starting to notice that it's an energy leak. It's an unnecessary waste of energy because you can't help someone that doesn't want to help themselves. So that
Oh,
being
so
said,
you
that being said, you have to, if you're one of those people who's always trying to give advice, if you're one of those people that are always trying to help those around you, the best way to have them listen to you is become a lighthouse. But shine your light so bright through your acts, through your results, through your progress, that you become undeniable. Like, you shine bright just like the sun. Like, if you look at me, I'm 30, I'm about to be 38 years old. I'm reaching single digit body fat. I do martial arts. I work out 2 to 3 times a day, every single day. I have my own business. I am getting ready to work with the United States government to provide a digital solution for employee engagement. I'm a medical doctor. Oh, okay. Those are your society stuff. But guess what? My wife is a model who's 14 years younger than me, and she just had my baby or our baby. I'm driving the car of my dreams. And my kids, I have 3 kids, they look at me as their superhero, And I'm like having the best relationship with my mother. So, this is like the type of mentor that you need. Like one that's going to tell you the hard truths and one that leads by example. Oh, okay. But how about on social media? Well, on social media, on the internet, I've been able to reach over 5 million people worldwide. And it's not about me, it's about you. Think about it. If you were to adapt the same mindset in your life, what do you think would be possible? I'm just highlighting these things so you could realize when you look for a mentor, this is what you need. You need someone who's like in the trenches, who's leading by example, and is going to stand next to you, not fucking eating ice cream, watching Netflix in their house.
So do you on your website on that link tree, do you offer like a mentoring services? Do you do that? Do you have a program?
Yeah, have a program that's dedicated to making people strong mentally and physically. And that mental and physical strength will lead to financial strength and spiritual strength. So yeah, man. I mean, I've helped hundreds of people worldwide. It's very
So
rewarding.
that's what if they go to that link tree. So
Well,
they
the
go to
the, the link
NYC Streets MD.
yeah, the link tree, what you'll find in the link tree is just it's the pre it's like the pre website before I'm getting ready to create my website and launch it. But on the link tree you'll just basically see like links to like different stuff like my YouTube channel, my Instagram,
Mhm.
and things along those lines. I was also published in the Journal of Medical Toxicology. I was published in the Journal of International Medical Students, and you'll find links to these things. So you know
Links for that. Mhm.
yeah, the link tree was more like an introduction when I first got on the internet, and now I'm getting ready to build the website where
Mhm.
a little bit more formality to it,
Oh, so
and
we
that's
have a
that's some that's something that I always do. Where like I start off by introducing myself. It's polite. You meet somebody, you look at their
mhm.
eyes, you shake their hands. Hey, I'm Reynolds. So the link tree is more like an introduction. Like, hey, just look at who I am. But most importantly, at the top of it, you'll find a place where you could book a call. We'll talk, and I'll see where your energy leaks are,
Okay.
where you need help, and then I'll give you some recommendations. Yeah, but you got
So
to
that's
see the
cool. So
people. You got
there's
to
a way
see
to
the
book
people.
some time
Yeah,
with you so you can
yeah, you got to see the people I work with, man. Like if you go on my Instagram, you'll see like these people are winning, and how could they not? It's like it's
mm,
just a matter of like work works. The only thing is you need the program that leads you down the right path, you know?
definitely. Yeah, you have a focused path because if you got people who are just saying, "Oh, take a break and eat ice cream," it doesn't
It's
sound
just
like the
yeah.
kind of thing that's going to get you through the crucible. Is it watching Netflix? Isn't going to
No,
get
sir,
you
not a
crucible. So so you've got this whole mind body like spirit type of methodology, but you're also talking about martial arts. Is that a lot of what you practice? Do you feel that discipline is helpful to the mental discipline you already have? And then you're
yes.
talking about health, and maybe you can talk about optimal health in your martial arts. Is that all combined? It seems like a holistic thing.
Yeah, it's definitely holistic, man. I mean, remember, I have a doctorate degree. It's right there. Like literally, this is my medical school degree. But I started to realize, like, listen, man, you're born with everything you need inside of you to be healthy. You don't really need any medications. So the holistic natural approach for the majority of cases, is the best approach. There's definitely outliers that they need medication, they need like assistance from their doctor and things along those lines. But the majority of people, they just need to get down and hit some fucking push-ups. Like literally, just shut the fuck up and do push-ups. Like move your body, go out for a walk, go to the park. And one of the things I did was that I reached this point in my life where I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. I was looking at myself in the mirror
Hmm.
and I was like coursing a divorce. My skin was all over the place. I was 70 pounds heavier. And I just felt like just sick and tired. I was tired. I didn't feel content. And I knew that having suicidal thoughts was
So the
irregular. And then I ended up leading this healthy
uh,
lifestyle. And one of the pillars was doing martial arts. Like I used to box. I did a little
mhm.
bit of mixed martial arts. I was in the Taekwondo team for a little bit of time, and now I'm focusing more on jujitsu and Muay Thai. So you have to realize, especially for the men out there. Let me take a sip of water. Sorry,
Mhm.
my throat is drying up. I apologize. Um, what we need to realize is that the days of you getting brownie points for going to the gym 2 to 3 times a week are over. You can't I don't want my wife to give me brownie points for providing. I don't want her to give me brownie points for being faithful. Like what the fuck? That's what I'm supposed to do. I give her brownie points for breastfeeding our child. Wow, babe. But me personally as a man, I don't need it. And to all men out there, you don't need it either. So like as we mentioned, protecting, providing, and leading your family is part of your duty as a man, because if someone breaks into your house, who the fuck you think they're gonna call? Dad, babe, did you hear that? Go check it out. Your wife is not gonna get up, most likely. So you're the one who's supposed to protect. And like, you could do like weapons training, you could do guns, you could do knife training, you could do martial arts. I personally want to work on the knife training, and I'm gonna work on the arms training. But right now, I'm leveraging a workout with the martial arts. So I'm working out, and I'm also learning how to fight at the same time. So I highly recommend the same for everybody.
Mhm.
Every man, every woman should learn how to
Yes.
defend themselves. And if you cannot,
So self-defense courses. Yeah, self-defense
No,
courses you recommend.
not necessarily courses. Um, Sign up to your local dojo. Just like
Mm.
sign up and go 3 to 4 times a week if possible. Like literally make it a
Just the
non-negotiable task.
martial arts training.
Yeah, dude, like pursue
Mhm.
it. Like no, like a course is good, but you forget it. Like there's certain things where no matter how beneficial it is for you, if you don't stay around it, you'll forget it. Whether it's martial arts, self improvement,
You
health
gotta
tips,
practice.
you
Yeah,
have to practice.
yeah,
Yeah,
you
man. So I highly recommend people do it. And what I was
use it
trying to,
or lose it. Like,
yeah, use it or lose it. Yep. And what I highly recommend is people do it because at the end of the day, again, you have to like give yourself the hard truths. Like, damn, I got a 401k. I have an IRA. I'm employed. I have job security. I have a roof over my head. I have life insurance. But none of that shit is going to stop you from somebody punching you in your motherfucking mouth. Like, you could even have all the cameras you want in your house, surrounded by fucking cameras. None of those cameras are going to stop an intruder that doesn't give a fuck about the cameras or doesn't care about going to jail.
mhm.
You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, you have to like be optimistic and hope for the best, but be prepared for the worst. And I don't want to sound like a UFC fighter, because at the end of the day, anybody could get it, including me. Like even Bruce Lee
Mhm.
caught it, and he's known to be like, you know, the big brother in martial arts. So
top
it's
of the
not
line.
that it'll make you. It is not that it'll make you immune to anything, but you need to realize at the end of the day, you want to lay your head down and know that you did everything you could within your power to do what you needed to do for the people that rely on you. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, I think that just
that
yeah.
satisfaction.
But I think it's also, I mean, you being responsible for your health. Like you were 70 pounds overweight, and it seems like a lot of the problems that people have with health is due to obesity. And if you actually get yourself down to like zero body fat as close as you can, that then a lot of the ailments that people have start to go away.
For
Is that your experience?
for sure. For sure. I mean, 0% body fat, not so low because that's not sustainable with life. But definitely, definitely, definitely reduce your body fat percentage. Because
Yeah, yeah, I guess I mean
your
going down as
organs,
low as you can.
yeah, your heart, your organs are made to feed your ideal body weight. If you think about your kidneys, if you think about your liver, which most people don't really think about that stuff, you need to realize like it's made for your ideal body weight, not for you right now as you're overweight. So this is how people end up having high blood pressure and diabetes because they overwork their organs for so long that their organs start failing. And then that's when you need to take the medications to help your organs because if you're 10 pounds overweight, you're giving your heart 10 pounds more to feed. Now, what does it feed it with? It feeds it with oxygen, it feeds
Mhm.
it with nutrients. But after a while, it chips away, you know? Like you'll find really big guys who are like 6'4", they'll walk around 300, 400 pounds. And, their body's made to resist that. But there comes a time when then that's when the high blood pressure comes in. That's when the knees start hurting and everything starts hurting them because they walked around so overweight that now they have like arthritis and stuff. So your body's very resilient, like you mentioned before, but there comes a time where your body's like, all right, fuck it. I'm giving up because you this is too much work.
Well, I think it also, if you think about like I lived in Japan for 2 years, and like the Western diet versus the Eastern diet, I saw immediately the portion sizes and the quality of the food, more vegetables, like more fish. And the thing what I saw also was just the discipline and people doing tai chi, meditation, taking the time to like really like enjoy life. Yeah, I was working around all these salary men, all these guys who were corporate people, but they would take time during the day to meditate, time during the day to do tai chi. And Americans tend to like, oh, I'm just going to sit at the desk for 6 hours straight, sugar and soda, and it's not healthy. When I was in Japan, the people were drinking tea, all different types of tea, but no soft drinks. Right? They weren't eating
Right.
all the candy, doing all that stuff. And so I saw like a totally different world, and it was interesting because it was a different perspective that a lot of people are like, oh, they don't ever see that. They don't know anything else. But I think from what your experience is, a lot of Americans are kind of stuck in a sedentary life. They're kind of measured on being at the desk, and it's hard, not impossible, but you got to learn how to demand that you need time for your body and not just be at that chain to that desk.
For sure. I mean, we're everything is like if you look around, you're like but you just need someone there, man. There you may jump off this podcast interview and feel motivated and inspired, but the motivation it dwindles, man. It dwindles. You're gonna get sucked back in. As if you're driving home, you go look around and see billboards with big bacon cheeseburgers, and then you get home and let's say you're lonely or you're not happy in your marriage, then you go to the pornography website and then you turn on the commercial and there's like this crispy beer with ice around it and everyone's smiling in the picture. And it's just like, you need someone there, man. You need someone there. You need a support group to snap you the fuck out of it. Like you're in a trance. You're
Yeah.
like in this fucking twilight zone where at your job, oh, we got you guys breakfast, and then you go to the fucking crew room and all you see is donuts and bagels. Like, what kind of fucking
Yeah.
breakfast is this? But
Yeah.
like I said,
Reinforcing the bad habit.
yeah. So, this message is not for everybody. If you're a bitch
No, I think you
with a
got to come to it. I think you got to
listen,
be ready for it.
if you're a bitch with a victim mindset, this message is not for you. And I could relate because I was the biggest bitch. Like like literally.
But
Listen, and then there's this time where like you said, people don't want to hear it. Like I used to smoke cigarettes, right? I smoked hookah, I smoked I think I smoked almost everything except like hard drugs, like crack and meth and stuff like that. But weed, hookah, vape, all these things, right? And I remember I used to smoke cigarettes, and people used to be like, "Yo, if you keep smoking, you're gonna die, bro." I'd be like, "I know." You know what I mean? Like I didn't care. You know what I'm
you
saying?
didn't,
I
you
didn't,
didn't
because I was in
care.
that
Yeah.
point in my life. I was in that point in my life where I just didn't care. Like it was like
So it wasn't
borderline
that you felt
suicidal.
indestructible. You didn't care. Well, that
Yeah,
some
like I
people, young
enjoyed.
people, they feel indestructible, but you didn't feel indestructible. You just didn't care.
Yeah, no, it's just that I enjoyed the pleasure so much. Like you get addicted to
Oh,
the
okay.
pleasure. Like let's say you're drinking your coffee, you're
Hmm.
smoking your cigarette, or you're having the drink, and then you have like sex with a person you met on a dating app. Like it's a rush. It's very pleasurable. But you need to realize this is what people define as enjoying life. Most people's definition of enjoying life actually accelerates their death. Like if you look closely, like what am I doing to celebrate? What am I doing to enjoy my life? I'm smoking, I'm drinking, I'm having a very fatty meal, and then
Hmm.
I'm gonna go lay down and probably have sex with someone that I shouldn't be having sex with, you know? So it's just you gotta realize there's a lot. If you really enjoy your life, then you need to prolong it. You need to undertake acts that make it last longer. And if you really love your mother, if you think about your mother, if you think about your wife, if you think about your kids, if you really love yourself, I always say, then become a motherfucking beast. Become stronger. Like, do you have any idea how good it feels to walk around my mother with no shirt on? Like, look, Ma, you gave birth to me. Look, Ma, you didn't give up on me. When everybody gave up on me, Ma, look at your boy now. I'm a doctor. I'm helping people. And I'm healthy. I'm a healthy healthcare provider who's leading by example, you know? And it's like people think showing love is like, like for your kids or Mother's Day and buying them a gift. Yeah, that's part of it. It's a detail. You got to be detail oriented. But at the end of the day, the most valuable things are priceless, and you have to give.
But I think people forget, yeah, yourself.
No, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I mean, I think you have to love yourself. I think a lot of what people don't understand is all that material stuff that you do. But if you don't respect yourself, if you don't love yourself, and you're 70, 100, 200 pounds overweight, then you're actually disrespecting your kids and your mom and everybody that loves you because you're not going to be around, right? Because you don't care enough about yourself to make sure that those bad things happen. Because like being overweight, having a bad habit, smoking, drinking, having sex, doing all kinds of things that are negative that might be enjoyable are not positive. And if you anything is like I'm a Buddhist, so we always believe in positivity and negativity, right? So whatever you do positive will bring positivity to you. What you do is negative will be negativity to you, and it continues even by beyond you. And so the day you decide to be positive and taking a better body self image and mind self awareness, you're going to be in a better position. So I totally, get what you're doing. That you've got this idea of being the lighthouse, and people should come to you rather you trying to drag them to you. Like that, I'm sure there's enough people you don't have to drag them anymore.
No, man. I mean, I would drag them if I have to. Like if you think about it, when I'm on the ambulance, I'm dragging these motherfuckers to the hospital while they're having their heart
Yeah, your
attack.
job.
You know, and they don't want to go. They're just like whatever. Like we'll get called for people that have high blood pressure and they're calling because they're short of breath. Then when you get there, they're smoking a cigarette. Like you're short of breath, but you're smoking a cigarette.
Yeah. Well, I
So it's
saw people
like,
in the cancer ward smoking
yeah,
cigarettes, and you're in the cancer, but by then you realize not to do it.
right. Listen, my aunt, may she rest in peace. She had a very aggressive cancer, and like throughout her cancer, she's like, "Yo, where the Newports at? Let me get a cigarette." And these are the people that, unfortunately, may she rest in peace, but you got to just let them be. And it's not that you give up on them, like, but at the end of the day, like you got to focus on those that want to be helped. But to be able to
Mhm.
help them, you must first be able to help yourself. Like you have to be able to help yourself. Because motherfuckers out here, they trying to like solve world problems while their apartment's a mess. Like what? Why are
Yeah,
we talking about
yeah,
politics?
it's
Like go
hard
clean,
hard
go
to
go
be.
clean your fucking car. Like go lose some fucking
Well, it's
weight
like
first. Like shut up. You know?
if you have like a relationship manager, like a relationship life coach is talking about saving people's marriages when they can't even save their own relationship.
Listen,
So how
people.
are you going to save a relationship when you don't have a good relationship yourself?
This is what I mean, man. And you'll have doctors giving you advice on being healthy, and they're taking a cigarette break with their fucking pizza stain on their shirt. So it's like it's the same thing. It's the same thing. People are hypocritical, but that's their problem. That's on them. I know I'm not,
we
and
gotta
neither are the people I
we
work with.
gotta we have to determine the salespeople, right? They're like snake oil salesmen
Mhm.
compared to the people who are the real deal, right? The people who are the real deal, like live it. They can show by example, and you've given your relationship, your position, your body, that you actually are living it. If somebody is kind of half stepping and they don't fit the pyramid, like your body, mind, soul. Like if there's something wrong in the pillar, how could you be the person that's going to tell other people what to do when your foundations are not there? You got to find somebody
Exactly.
that actually is that lighthouse or that pillar, right? And then you can easily see when they don't, because if people don't have those pillars, you'll see it right away.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Exactly. But in the meantime, we have to make sure that we get ourselves under control. While you're simultaneous, like me, I simultaneously uh, volunteer my time. I volunteer myself. I volunteer my expertise. But at the same time, I'm also focusing on like, what do I have to do to become a person that's worth listening to? Like, it's you have to like if you want to cut through the noise, you have to be someone that's like commendable. You know what I mean? Because, like you said, there's a lot of people out here not leading by example, and they will look at you and they may have a bad experience with the last podcast or the last life coach, and they're going to be like, oh, this person's going to do the same thing. So that's why you got to take your shirt off. You know what I mean? Or like, do something that you're
Yeah,
just like,
you got
listen,
to
I'm different. I'm different. I'm different. I'm not the same.
Mhm.
And it's not so much about the vanity. It's just that at the end of the day, the results speak for themselves. You know, like
That's true.
like yeah, the results speak for themselves. Like 800 plus episodes. Like, you can't make this
Yeah,
stuff
well,
up.
people told me when I first started, right, they say the average podcast goes like 12 episodes. And they told me like an average podcaster is only well defined on one niche. And I broke all the rules. I kept on like, I started only interviewing musicians, opened it up to artists and poets. Then I opened it up to life coaches, then mentors, then CEOs, then CFOs, therapists, and like you can't do that. I said, well, the people telling me I can't do it have had 15 episodes and they stopped, and I've got almost 900. So I don't think they really know what they're talking about.
That's it. That's it. You just gotta let them. All right, cool. Thanks. Peace.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
definitely. That doesn't mean you don't listen to them. And then you gotta consider the source.
Right.
Like you said, you got 15 episodes. Like, but if it's someone who's commendable and credible, then you'd be like, go ahead, man. I'm listening. So I listen to people, but I don't apply what they say unless they're
Yeah.
like further along in the journey that I want to embark.
Well, what I decided is like, where I was limiting myself, like I had talked to a bunch of musicians and people, they said, well, you should only interview musicians. So I listened to what they had to say, and then, well, that doesn't work because the world isn't just that. And so that's when I decided to become more expansive. And that's the whole thing about my record and my mindset is like the idea of expansion. So what does that mean? That means you realize you have limitations and you're willing to expand yourself, right?
Right.
You're willing to get outside the comfort zone. So if you go to talk to a CEO and you never really talk to one, you got to step up your game or they're not going to want to talk to you, right? You talk to somebody who's a therapist and you've never talked to that type of person, you got to understand how to engage them. So you have to actually step up. And so I think in life is always about where you're going to step up. And I totally agree with the way you have presented yourself tonight. That I think that a lot of people can learn from what you've said and learn from your experience. And it's been a great episode. I hope people will go to your link tree, the NYC Streets MD, and really connect with you and get into a consultation if they're ready. And they'll know if they're ready based on what they heard tonight.
For sure.
So I want to thank you for being a guest podcast, and I wish you the best, and I hope you have a great night.
Yeah. Thank you, brother. Same to you. It was a pleasure.
Thank you very much.